Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? I can tell you that my voice is not doing well this evening, as you can tell. But welcome back to the One Man Low Council and to episode 273 of the Welcome to Asgard podcast, which reminds me to shout out Toph Morris, who is a podcast backer over on Anchor.fm. So I've already kind of alluded to it a little bit in a video or two about the voice. Apparently, as you all know, babies bring home pretty much everything that they can possibly catch, and parents typically will get anything that their babies will get. Baby Thor has been at daycare now for a little over a month, and so he got something last week, and I was able to pick it up a little bit as well. Part of it was postnasal drip, and postnasal drip, as you all know, can cause some irritation in the throat, and also can cause some issues with speaking. And so because I had that, and also I've now in my second full day of teaching, doing lectures all day, it has just not been very good. So overall, I'm feeling okay. So it sounds worse than what it actually is, but it is, again, something that I'm dealing with. So I only plan to go for about an hour tonight. So I'm going to try and end it around 8 p.m. Eastern time just to try and save the voice as much as I can. But I did want to still go live because I love you guys. You're awesome. I've had to miss some streams in the past more recently, but also we just hit 23,000 subscribers, which is insane. For the past year, it was like we hit a wall and we were just going up and down, and there was really no necessarily, constant growth or anything. It was just kind of this weird place. And then once the box office started to open back up and I could actually do my box office breakdown videos again, we started to see some pretty cool growth, and we've gained about 100 or 200 subscribers really within the last week or two, and it's been really cool to see, and we finally were able to actually surpass our next milestone, which is 23,000. So again, thank you all very much for your constant love and your constant support. And of course, I do need to shout out my Valkyrie, Tina, and Steph, who have been with me for so long and have been a big part of the growth of this channel by always talking with people in the chat, always letting people know how to contact me, and also always just being amazing supporters and keeping me on my toes and keeping me as on task as I possibly can be. And also I do want to shout out Laura Story, who has also been able to, especially when one of them has to have been out, also jumping in as a mod on the channel too. So again, thank you all very much for being here tonight. We are live on YouTube, Periscope, DLive, and also in Odyssey. Remember that I do fall behind in the chat, so do not spam your comments. Don't repost. You don't have to post your comments more than once. As long as you tag me correctly, I'll get to it at some point. Okay, usually I fall about 20 minutes behind, and so that is typically how it goes. But let's see who was in the chat. We had someone here early at 512, JKDBuck76. Welcome to the chat, good sir. Thank you for being here early. Snortopupus Cuber was here at around, let's see, it says here around, 6:28 or so. Thank you for being here. And he says, of course, hello, homins and other quitters. What's going on? Thank you for being here, as always. Always really great to see you in the chat, and thank you again for the congratulations. Derek McManus, what's going on, man? Welcome back to the chat. Sorry to hear about your Twitter troubles. As we all know, Twitter is garbage and a garbage heap. Orange Eye Reviews, what's going on, man? Says, what a lovely day for New York. Howdy, Odin. Love all the chat. And Valkyrie, nothing can kill my mood. Awesome, Orange Chat. Glad that you're in a great mood. Yeah, the one downside to the news coming out of New York is that there's also news apparently that in the process of Cuomo stepping down, it could also mean that by stepping down, he might be getting some protection from his friends in government and may not be prosecuted. So for me, I would rather him be in power and prosecuted than out of power and let off, personally. But that's just my own take on that. Rob D, what's going on, good sir? Thanks for tagging. He says, Odin, you hit 23K. YouTube doesn't hate you after all. Well, they don't hate this channel as much. And as I said, they seem to like the box office videos. It's always funny because whenever the videos are doing better than normal, it always gives you some like insight and says, oh, people are liking this a little bit more, and now we're recommending it more. And it's like, it makes you realize just how fixed the entire YouTube system, and rather how broken, more honestly, how broken the YouTube system is, because it just, the fact that there isn't just this fair algorithm that allows for natural growth, and instead it's just some convoluted system that they have that only benefits some people and only benefits you really if you're talking about things that are actually topical at the time, which don't always get views. Like, they get views initially, but they don't last for a long time. It's just a very broken system. But it is still really cool, though, that there are a lot of new subscribers to the channel who have been able to have access. It's one of those sad things where I love, luckily, talking about the topics that seem to be doing well, which is the box office conversations. But it's one of the reasons why I don't do as many videos as I used to when I first started out, because I used to be that person that would always try and be working the algorithm as much as I possibly could and talking about things that were on topic, but maybe I wasn't necessarily as passionate about. And it's really nice that finally the algorithm's like, hey, we like these box office conversations. I don't know. I guess people like some Schadenfreude as well, because it's been mostly bad news for the box office, unfortunately. Let's see. Andrew Hoyle, what's going on? Good, sir. Andrew, I still need to find a way to get you the 4K that you won the other day. Unfortunately, for those that don't know Amazon, I'm luckily am able to get an Amazon, because you know how you can sign in to Amazon and you could sign into a certain country's Amazon. So I was able to sign into the amazon.co.uk and buy him a 4K, and everything was correct, but it delivered it to the wrong address. So I tried to find a way to request it be resent. I think I have to go through customer service. I don't know how that's going to work internationally, but if worse comes to worse, I will be glad to send you a replacement copy. But I've obviously fallen behind a bit with school, and I'll try and take care of that sometime this week, if not this weekend when I have a little bit more time. Thunderduck, what's going on, man? Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. I'm almost always on time. It's very rare that I'm not on time, and if I'm never not going to be on time, I always let people know in the chat, and I usually give a pretty good guesstimate, unlike Old Man Gary, who is late all the time and never, ever fulfills any estimate whatsoever. Anyway, let's see. Oh, man. Golden Ration, what's going on, man? Thank you for being here. Let me get some water real quick. Let me clear my throat real quick. I didn't want y'all to have to hear that, so should not have gone through as I muted that microphone. Oh, we got the K-Man. What's going on, K-Man? Thank you very much for being in the chat. Appreciate it. You are awesome. Always love having you here. Lila Lightning just dropped an Australian $5 super chat. He says, congratulations, good sir. 23,000 is random to celebrate, but congratulations either way. Well, Lethal, the reason why is because the channel was really not going anywhere. It was stuck at the same number for months and months and months, all summer, before the summer, and it just randomly started growing the last 2 weeks. So I didn't think I was going to hit 23,000 anytime soon. So that's why we're celebrating it, because it is a milestone, and it's the first milestone that I've hit in a while. So, but thank you, Lethal, for stopping by and for sending the love, and I always appreciate the love from Australia. By the way, I did talk about this last stream, but not as much. But my wife and I just discovered this show that's based in Australia. It's an animated show. It's called Bluey, and it's fantastic. Bluey is so cute. It's 7-minute episodes, so it's nice and short. But it's also it's a show that's made not just for kids, but even for adults. My wife and I find ourselves laughing at it all the time. But anyway, and by the way, yes, Lethal, I saw the live chat, and I agree. I do. You have to blame Suicide Squad. There's no doubt that Suicide Squad coming out and flopping the way that it is has brought a lot of people to the channel. So whether they like the news or not, I don't know. But anyway, thank you for that super chat, man. All right, we got Bivard Hobbit. What's going on? He says, your thoughts on celebrities like Jake Gyllenhaal and Mila Kunis having spoken out about how little they bathe. That's just weird. I didn't know that was a thing, and it's kind of disturbing. And I would ask that you never share that information ever again, because now I am just all kinds of disturbed. No, thank you. Chief Mikey 76. what's going on? Thank you very much for the congrats. Appreciate it. The Craig Lee Lawrence Experience. Thank you very much for the love and the congrats. We also got Cacao and Cookies Minion. Thank you for the congrats as well. Kaylee D, what's going on? Thank you for being in the chat. Appreciate it. And Tina is indeed correct. If you have a comment or a question tonight, again, I'm just going to be going to 8 p.m., so another 50 minutes or so, but just to try and save the voice as much as I can. But if you have a comment or question, please do have put at Odin at the very beginning of the comment. Also, I would ask, just for my own sake, if you could limit your comments to much shorter than normal. If you're someone, and you know who you are, because there's a few, who like to put very long comments and usually 100 long comments. I always appreciate and I appreciate the love, but it would really be awesome on The Voice tonight if it could be a little bit more succinct. It doesn't have to be just 1 or 2 words, but just not the stories that some people like to weave throughout the evening. I don't know if my voice could take it. Mr. Roy, what's going on, man? Thanks for being here. One of the chosen of Valhalla. We got Forever Sci-Fi. What's up, dude? Thank you very much. For being a member on the channel, for being here. Griffin Turbo in the chat, what's going on? Evan S, what's up, dude? Says, hail all, having haggis for dinner this evening. Again, haggis, once again, coming up in the discussion. Such a weird thing that's been very consistent in the chat the last couple of streams for some reason. Here in the Steadfast, what's going on? Welcome back to the chat. Glad to have you here. Third Tooth Warrior, what's going on? You are a member. He says, I was addicted to Hokey Pokey, but I turned myself around, and that's what it's all about. That's right. That's right. I got that. Tina B, what's going on? Thank you. And again, she is the Empress of the Universe. She is an amazing mod, and thank you for the congrats. Appreciate it. Let us see here. I already explained what happened. Laura, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Andrew Hoyle says, Odin trying his Bane impression. No. The Bane impression, you gotta go like, oh, it's gotta go like this. Somehow, you see, even with no voice, I can somehow still do Bane. It's just one of those voices. It's just so ridiculous. You can do it no matter what. I don't understand. Yeah, don't worry, Snorter Poop, is that's why I'm gonna limit myself to an hour, and also hopefully the people who love and support me will also, when they tag me, again, please feel still free to tag me, and members feel free to comment, but maybe just try and keep them a little bit shorter for my own voice's sake, and I appreciate it. Thunderduck, what's up, dude? Says, hail to 23K. My voice is also a bit crooked. You sound a bit badass. Well, thank you. One of the things that's made me so happy this morning when I was randomly checking comments on the new video was the people who were like, man, you sound it's like, I'm digging your sexy jazz voice, and I'm like, okay. I guess some people might like it, but it was funny. It was keeping me entertained given the situation. Laura Story, what's going on? Laura, thank you so much. She is the Mod Major General of the channel. Thank you for the $23 donation via Streamlabs. Thank you for donating via Streamlabs. YouTube got none of that. And she says, congratulations on the 23K. Thank you for that $23, 23K. Congratulations. You're awesome, Laura. Thank you. Always for your support. Tina, I'm going to try my best. I'm trying to speak at normal volume, but also I'm trying to not speak too low. Obviously, I want to make sure that people can still hear me. Andrew Hoyle, what's going on? Saying, what a lovely, lovely voice. Matthew Highland, what's going on, man? General Wingster, he at 7:01, so I'm already about 13 minutes behind in the chat. He said, Odin, 7 p.m. You don't have to keep your voice low now. Thank you. E-Boyd, what's going on, man? I haven't seen you in the chat in a while, but thank you very much for the congrats. Hey, I miss y'all too. I miss y'all too. And it ended up being for the best, though, in a very, very happy place here in Tennessee. And it's been a lot of fun. So I hope everything's going well down where you are. And I hope everything in the school is going well too. Let's see. Orange Hat says, sounds like you got a case of strep throat. It's not yet. It's not the strep throat. It's again just it's the post nasal, and it then at that point, after being the post nasal, it caused the voice to be a little sore, and then doing the streams, it but not even just doing the stream. It was the stream on Saturday where the night after the stream on Saturday, I was I was already sounding a little bit harsh, and then the having to lecture the last couple of days has been the bigger impact. So yeah, at the very least, I know exactly where it's coming from. There's Boris coming over summer cold. Hope that you're feeling a little bit better. Alice McCarthy says here, howdy Odin. Congrats on 23K. Pizza cures sore throats. Andrew Hoyle says, I have the coop. No, actually, because my wife can get she gets a bit nervous about this stuff because at the end of the day, this came from baby Thor, and we want to make sure that he's okay. So she and he got tested over the weekend and they came back negative. So I already know it's not that because I know I got it from him because it's the same symptoms. But he was negative. So luckily I know it's not that. Oh man. Let's see, Laura's story. He says, Odin will now critique movies using only interpretive dance. Yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see exactly what happens tomorrow if I have any voice to do a video, because I like doing the videos in the morning, so that way I can at least have a guarantee that the video gets out. And my hope is that we get some idea of what the projections for the weekend are going to be. But that's either going to be coming out Wednesday or Thursday, is normally when those come out. See, Sora Poopin says, end the stream early and have some tea and honey or whatever your favorite throat soother is. Honey sounds really good. I think we might still have some honey. I've never been a tea person. I just don't like hot beverages in general. Even like for hot cocoa, hot chocolate, I'd rather have lukewarm chocolate, if that makes any sense. So I've just never been a fan of hot beverages. It's just not my thing. I like it cold or maybe a little bit warm, something like that. But no, honey sounds delightful. Maybe I'll have to go that route instead. Thirsty Warrior. Odin is doing the stream unmasked. No wonder he's sick there. Daniel Thorne, what's up, dude? Thanks for being here. Let's see. Matthew Highland says, saw Suicide Squad last night, and it was not that good of a film. Your review was spot on, 5 out of 10. Yeah, and I think it's interesting. A lot of people, I think, are slowly starting to, I guess, people who haven't seen it or are second thinking it are starting to kind of realize that it's not as good maybe as, first experience. There's still people who like it. And as I've always said, I have no issue if you subjectively like the movie. The only issue that I have is when people try and not a lot of people are doing this, but anyone that does, to try to argue that it's an objectively good movie or that it's a movie that's really good and deserves more money. It's like, it's just not up there. It's just not one of those movies to really merit any type of success, unfortunately. And what I did find interesting, though, in the video I did today is these release numbers from Samba. It really is interesting because of just how few people actually watched the Snyder Cut in comparison to other movies. And I know there's a huge contingent of hardcore fans that are big Snyder Cut fans and love the Snyder Cut and watched it multiple times even. But it is interesting because I think that it does help to kind of expose that the Snyderverse fans, though they are mighty and though they are vocal, are really not a very large portion of the movie watching, streaming population. And I think that's something interesting about that number. And I think it is something that even people like me who are in other fandoms might need to start to try and think through a little bit more about just how far of a reach does our fandom actually have. Because I think sometimes we can get lost and we can think that we're a lot larger than what we are. But I mean, even with the Fandom Menace, I mean, we've always been very clear that we know we're not this massive majority. We know that we are also, just like with the Snyderverse fans, just, a very strong minority. But just like I would argue in the case of even the Snyderverse fans, I think that in the end, we are the ones also who spend the most money typically. And so even though we may not be as many in number, the amount of money that we can provide for these franchises and for these films is absolutely a lot. But I didn't realize just how small in reality the Snyderverse and Snyder Cut fandom was until I read that movie. Until I read those numbers. Andrew Hoyle says, mead's good for a sore throat. If only I drank, but I don't. Laura Story comes in to say, put me in, coach. I'm ready to mod. Boom. There she is. Daniel Thorne, thank you for the congrats over on DLav. I appreciate it very much. Let's see. Forever Sci-Fi says, okay, everyone, use the maximum amount of characters allowed in your comments. How dare you? Rob D tags, Vicks Vapor Rub Odin works great for sore throats. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've been taking like the Dayquil, NyQuil, just to try and help with the runniness of the nose and the post-nasal. And that's been helping a lot. But when you go through an entire day teaching, it's one of those things where, I'm feeling fine, I'm feeling better, and the stuffy nose, runny nose really isn't as prominent. It's just everything else, just the voice over time getting used up. Jacob Buck says, bless you for streaming today. Please teach those kids. They will use the material every day. I hope so. It's, it's a new set of kids I don't really know all that well. It's kind of one of the downsides to when you teach just one grade level every year. And what has been really cool, though, is that a lot of students from last year have been stopping in to say hi, and that always makes me happy because I like having those conversations, especially since they're all seniors. And so it's always just a very fun time for them, and by extension, it makes it fun just for me to see them being able to, get excited for and obviously they're excited for the end of school, but still, the fact to see them excited and coming in to still have conversations and ask questions and stuff. And then also this year we're doing things different where I have a couple of classes that have some of the seniors in it too. And so it's nice just to be able to see them again, because it's just, again, it's a good group of kids. And as a teacher, it's always fun just to be able to talk and just to, get to know what their plans are and what they're doing to get ready for college. Kick 44, what's going on? Thank you for being in the chat. See, Thirsty Warrior says, what position in the Biden administration is Cuomo going to get? I think HR is probably looking for a position right now, and I think he would be perfect. Forever Sci-Fi, I'd rather see Cuomo get a life sentence for every senior he murdered for political points. That's another thing that is slowly not getting talked about either, right? We can talk until we're blue in the face about the allegations against him for sexual misconduct, but yeah, people are always forgetting and always leaving out the fact that it was because of his actions that countless numbers of elderly died, and yeah, I think that's a very good point. See, Orange Hat tagged to say, or rather, he's a member. He says, I was unaware that there was a stipulation of him stepping down. So again, it's not necessarily that it's like some type of official stipulation. It's just that there are certain political pundits who are just hearing things close to the ground. There are things that are not spoken. That's something that would never be officially released. But hey, I'm not gonna lie. I would not be surprised if that happened. Mark Lizeth, what's going on? Thank you very much for being in the chat. Appreciate it. Just Joe 47, welcome to the chat. Thank you for being here as well. Let me say what's going on over on Odyssey. What's going on, Odyssey fam? We got Reset the Cripple. What's going on? Radicalized Ryan is over there. What's going on? Racef says, Mahler said he had a lot of fun with the Suicide Squad. Thoughts? Interesting. I would not have expected Mahler to say that. Now, I'm interested to hear more so his thoughts breaking down the movie, because I think even Mahler would admit you can have fun with a movie and still find a lot of objective issues with it. So I'll be interested to see and hear his thoughts about the movie as far as from an objective standpoint. Because again, even people like us who try and do focus more so on objective elements, we can still enjoy movies that are not very well put together either. So, and I'm sorry to hear that there's apparently some buffering going on over on Odyssey. If you can hear me on Odyssey, light up that fire button. It really would mean a lot. All right. Back to the chat over on YouTube. Again, Lethal Lightning, thank you again for stopping by earlier and for that super chat. And I really do appreciate the love, good sir. Even if you don't quite understand the milestone. Andrew Hoyle, 60% of the time, he's late every time. Yeah, we're talking about Gary. Absolutely true. Absolutely. Cornelius Schultz, what's going on, Cornelius? Welcome back to the chat. Chris Coach 612, Crisco says, have you heard of the film 9 Days? I saw it last weekend and thought it was one of my favorites recently. It's kind of a live action Soul. Interesting. I want to say I saw that the film was out at the bigger AMC near me, but I don't know much else about it. So, but if you said it's a good film and that it's kind of like a live action Soul, I did like the movie Soul. So maybe I'll have to check that out when and if I have the chance to. Obviously, it's a lot more difficult once the school year actually starts. See, Alex McCarthy says 23 is Michael Jordan's number. That's the reason enough to celebrate. Boom. That is accurate, Alex McCarthy. That is a great shout for sure. I totally agree. Yame Kintai, what's going on? He says, congrats. Thank you very much for the love. Appreciate it. Let's see, Hardwick, what's going on, Hardwick? He says, Ratcatcher 2's rat Sebastian was played by over a dozen trained rats, but the main two who played him for most of the movie were named Jaws and Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt was named after Chris Pratt. Nice. Well, they can claim that there were trained rats in the movie, and obviously I will give them some credence that there probably were sequences where trained rats were used. There were clearly CGI'd versions of those rats also used. Clearly CGI'd versions. I mean, so to me that just sounds like a, hey, look, we used practical, but it's just something where most of the time it just did not look very good. So Thanatos Felicitas, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Soul Assassin, welcome to the chat. Appreciate it. Let's see. Thunderduck says, I still love Age of Ultron. Hey, again, you can like bad movies. It's no problem. But it's still a bad movie. Punkwaddle, what's going on? Says, hail the pepperoni all father. Hail chat. Hail to you, Punkwaddle. Thank you very much for being a member on the channel. CWD Trixie, what's up, dude? Welcome back. Says, considering how the recent flops have been, do you think Hollywood would ever consider shrinking their budgets back to the 80s and 90s? Dude, I wish. I think the thing, I don't think it's going to happen because Hollywood is clearly run by a bunch of egotistical studio heads who do not understand or do not care about the money that they're losing because either they're making the money up elsewhere through whatever means they are, or they're banking on getting bailed out by federal taxpayer dollars in some capacity. So unfortunately, I don't think it's going to change. But if I could have a choice in what is the results of all of this, I would love for Disney and Warner Brothers and all the major studios, I would love for them to start putting out smaller budget films, putting it in the hands of, strong, they could even be independent writers, and just letting them write good stories. The issue is that most of the films coming from these companies are made by committee, and then when they tell you, oh, we let this person do their own thing, it's clearly just not the case. People, for instance, I just really, it's hard for me to believe, I have no proof, but it's hard for me to believe that James Gunn had full control of this movie. It really is hard. And the reason why is because it still has the same issues and problems that every other DC property in the DCEU has had from day one. That doesn't happen unless there's some type of centralized authority and power behind it, right? That doesn't happen unless there is some underlying thread, whether it's a person or anyone else, that is having an influence on the storytelling. So, maybe he had more autonomy than other people, but it's clear that he did not have complete and total control either. So I would love that would be the biggest thing that I think could save Hollywood, and rather less so Hollywood, save the theaters. If they put out great original stories for lower budgets, getting the best writers on, and not trying to push random identity politics into their movies, not trying to just adapt and reboot and remake every single title, every single property under the sun, they could be successful. But they realize that they're in a position now where they can do whatever they want. They don't mind losing hundreds of millions of dollars on any of these movies, because I think even Matthew Kadish pointed this out. He did the math on this, and he pointed out that HBO Max, just from their subscriber base, is pulling in, millions of dollars. And this is just on a monthly basis, pulling it in. I want to say, according to his numbers, it's pulling in almost $1 billion every month. I haven't done the math myself yet, but if you're still making a lot of money from just subscriptions, you could understand then why they would say, oh, this is going to be a $100 million loss, $200 million loss for us. Doesn't matter. We're going to make it up somewhere else. But that can only last for so long. That can only be sustained for so long. but I do hope that it changes. Do I think it will? No, but I do hope. Rob D, with everything flopping, do you think Dune is totally done for? I do. Dune was already going to be tough. I mean, remember when Denis Villeneuve had Blade Runner 2049, the film was fantastic. It was solid. And yet it flopped because it was a big budget and it was such a niche audience to begin with. Because, I mean, I love the first Blade Runner, but it's definitely not a property that lots of people outside of that fan base or those that appreciate it are going to go out of their way to see. Dune's the same way. Dune is probably even a worse position because Dune, especially the original movie, is such a weird, crazy film. Like, even I don't like the original film, that I think it's going to really lead to a lot of people just choosing not to go see it. I hope, and it would be awesome if it did well. I don't think it's in a good position. Super, what's going on, dude? Says, what's up, my dude? Congrats on 23K. Sorry I'm late. Thought the notification was just the 30-minute warning. No. Again, I always start on time. It's always amazing when people are like, I didn't know. It's like, I keep the same schedule. I very rarely change. I try and update whenever I can. Mark Lizeth, first week of school and you lost your voice from screaming at the students? No, I haven't had to scream at a student in years. My old school is where I had to scream at students. It was an all-boys school, and it was rough. So far, I mean, at my current school, I have not had those issues. Matthew Highland says NPR Odin. Yes, I don't know. I would be concerned if this is what NPR was putting on as far as voice quality these days. Since haggis is a topic of conversation, did you know it's illegal in the United States? Super. It's actually, there's a part of it. I think we talked about this randomly last stream. I think there's one particular like organ that is not allowed, but all the other stuff that's a part of it is. I forget the total breakdown, but it's not banned completely. It's just part of what makes up haggis is not. Cornelius says, any thoughts on Idris Elba on voicing Knuckles? Again, for voice acting, I feel like as long as the voice is accurate, I don't care. He's not the person I would think that could do the voice of Knuckles based on the voice that I can remember from my childhood. But, I mean, again, if it fits the basic character, I don't have a problem. Keck44 says, I hear pineapple on ham great for rough voice. No. Keep that away from my pizza. Jeremy Zakowski, what's going on? Congrats on 23K. Got same cold you are having right now. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. See, General Wingster tagged to say, and here I was about to write a wrong reply to you about how amazing the Suicide Squad. How dare you, General Wingster. You're the bane of my existence. Rob D. Oh, just answer all our questions in sign language. We'll figure it out probably. That would require me to know sign language. I would love to learn it, but I do not know it. Her sci-fi is a member. This reminds me of that Simpsons episode where they wanted to repeal an anti-family law, so they sent all of the kids to get their non-parents sick at the polling stations. Crisco tagged to say, fellow lukewarm chocolate connoisseur here. Yes, Crisco, yes. Gotta love the lukewarm hot chocolate. Tina B says, lukewarm chocolate sounds disgusting. Either hot or just don't. There is no in between, but there is. I mean, think about it. When you get hot coffee, do you drink it right away or do you let it cool off a little bit? It's the same logic. It's just that my tolerance for heat is just a little bit lower. Tox Fox, what's going on? Thank you for being a member on the channel. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Matthew Highland says, Darren Rovell trying to one-up Clay Davis over Space Jam 2 was funny today. I did not see that. Phonemo, what is going on? Thanks for being here. Soul Extraction, hail to you. Glad to have you here. Brian Barth tagged to say, thoughts on Garfield and Garfield 2? Do not care. I'm not even going to read the rest of that. I don't care. Haven't seen it. Have no desire to see it. It just never looked good, and so, bleh. Did you watch Jungle Cruise pitch meeting? Hardwick, I've fallen behind on some of the pitch meetings, so I really want to watch all the ones that they've done. I haven't even seen the Black Widow one, so that might be what I go up and watch with my wife once I jump off in about half an hour or so. Because just again, if you're joining tonight, If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, please. Would really mean a lot. We have 66 people watching, so again, smash that like button. We are only going until 8 p.m. Eastern, so about another 26 minutes or so, because my voice is just not up for a full stream. Phonemo, thank you very much for the congratulations on 23K. Appreciate that. New number 2, what's going on? Thanks for being here. JKD76. If The Last Jedi was good, we wouldn't be here. Get honey. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. Let's see. Forever Sci-Fi. Don't take cough drops. They dry mucus and cause it to build up in your throat, especially Halls. Interesting. I feel like people have different philosophies on that kind of stuff. My wife has been trying to make me gargle salt water, which I'm sure is a good thing. It's just that I have this random fear that I'm going to like swallow even just a little bit, and I don't want to get sick. Or rather, sicker than I already am. Tox Fox, thank you very much for that, man. I appreciate it. Though I'm sure anyone coming across the screen right now is going to be like, why are people listening to this nonsense in this voice? James Cruz, what's going on? Hope you're doing better. Get well soon. Thank you. Again, other than the voice, I feel physically, I feel fine. You know, a little runny nose here and there, but yeah, luckily the overall feeling is not that bad. Dean Heist, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. It took you long. Yeah, dude. Yeah. The between 22 and 23 was one of the longest stretches. And that's the reason why we are having a celebration, because it was a pretty long haul. And it was like the last 2 weeks that we finally started to have a little bit of traction. JKB76, Cuomo should have sentenced to living in a nursing home. His successor fills said nursing home with COVID patients. It would definitely be fair. Tox Fox, I also think that your streams are generally better for European UK folk. Maybe the few later ones brought you some more UE subscribers. It could be, yeah. I do wish that I could have it at a better time in general for some of the European people, because I know it's really late where y'all are. But yeah, unfortunately, the summer I know for sure had an impact. But no, I think it's because of releasing, I guess, in the morning here. Maybe it's at a better time, a better like prime time for people to watch or get notified. I don't know. But whatever it is, I'm happy that people are here. Andrew Hoyle, did Cuomo show his charts during his resignation? I don't know, but I'm really hoping that they do another Cuomo skit this week and they cover this, because man, oh man, I would love to watch that on Friday Night Tights for sure. Gary Banjo Sandwich Worthington, what's up? Says Husky Boy just had to add a video to get content back, as did so thanks to him. Nice. Let's see. Tina B says, Mahler, Gary, Az, and Gundam were having a blast talking about it. He said he'll detail it more later, but he seemed to think it was better than he thought it would be. Well, that makes me very upset. If Mahler can't see how bad of a movie this is, I have no hope left. So I'm hoping that after he watches it, however many times he watches it, to take his notes, that he starts to realize, ooh, I maybe spoke too soon. That's my hope, at least. Let's see. Hardwick says, Bogota man's mother forced experimental treatments on children, and she looks like Health Secretary Rachel Levine, who wants to do the same. Yeah. John Edgar, what's up, dude? Thanks for being here. Thunderduck says, Gary isn't late. Somewhere on Earth he is on time. You know what? I don't think there's anywhere on Earth where he's on time. You know what? I will say this much. I would not be surprised, and this is my hope, that on this week's Friday Night Sites, since I believe the gang will be still in Vegas at that time, which means I think a lot of them are going to be in the same place at the same time. My hope is that kind of forces him to be on time. By the way, Michael Skewitt, thank you very much for those super chats. I see them both. I want to try and get to it in the chat, though, so I can highlight it. So that's why I have not read them aloud yet, but I have seen them, so thank you. And I do want to highlight them, so be a little patient, please. There's a Warrior says, what is the world coming to when we have CGI rats? Do they carry CGI bubonic plague? Well, you know, they can somehow take down a seemingly unstoppable villain. Yeah. Rats kill Starro. So stupid. All right. Anyway, Toxvox, hot baths, salt baths, humidifiers will help me. Trust me. Yeah, I've heard about that a lot. Stephanie B, what's going on? Thanks for being here. It's not. It's yeah. It might sound sad, but I'm happy. I feel good. I'm sorry you're having these refresh and buffering issues though, because I keep seeing you put in the live chat that you're having a lot of those issues. I'm sorry to hear that. Let's see. Orange Chat says most categories Suicide Squad had problems. I don't like the acting of Idris, Sly, and Kinnaman. Harley being a killer was good, but this movie was not good. Yeah, I mean, the acting was solid. I even mentioned that in my review when talking about the positives. The acting actually was really solid. Acting is not a bad part of this movie. It really comes down to most especially the writing. Yeah, well, I explained it earlier on in the stream. And to save my voice, I will not repeat it. Rusty Shackelford, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Rosie G12, thank you for being in the chat. Thanks for the love. Punk Waddle says, did anyone see Netflix Mad as He's All That modern role reversal movie? No. It sounds terrible. It sounds awful, so no thank you. Let's see. Tox Fox says, I'm a Snyder fan. I haven't watched either Suicide Squad, and I'm not going to. Yeah, and I don't blame you, dude, because neither one of them's good. But I said this on, I think I was on Friday Night Tights, or at least on another video or stream, where if I had to watch, I don't want to rewatch any of them. If I had to rewatch one, I think I'd rather watch the original Suicide Squad, not because it's a better movie, but I subjectively just found it more entertaining. And even then, that's a bit of a stretch because I still didn't like the movie. It's one of those things where it's like, if I have to choose the better of the worst movies, for me, I would much rather watch that one. Let's see. Thunderduck. Let's see. Why isn't Disney making a Gargoyle trilogy? I'm glad they're not. Do you want them making a Gargoyle trilogy? I don't. I don't want modern Disney doing anything. See, Faux Nemo. Is Blade Runner more niche than a movie like Arrival, which was very abstract? So I think that they are both abstract. I think the difference is that Blade Runner, the original, is a much older cult classic type movie, whereas Arrival isn't a cult classic. It isn't even a modern cult classic. It's a movie that people generally, I think, like, and I think it's anyone who's a fan of Denis Villeneuve is going to enjoy it, I think, a little bit more. It is definitely abstract for sure. So I think only people that appreciate or like types of abstract films would like it. But I would not put it in the same category because there's no comparison between Blade Runner's fandom and that's the thing, I don't even know if there is really an Arrival fandom. I mean, there is clearly a fandom for Blade Runner. There's not really the same for Arrival. I like Arrival, but I wouldn't ever say I'm a part of the Arrival fandom, you know? So hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. Max P123ABC, welcome to the chat. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Tox Fox says, I would love to watch an Odin lecture, maybe record one for members, wishful thinking. Probably not, Tox Fox, and that comes down to legal and moral issues. So it's just not something that I could really do for members or for anyone outside of the school, because I do record for my students, but they're the only ones that have access to it. So yeah, that's just not an option. Not an option. I could record one like on the side, like outside of it, but it wouldn't be the same. It'd be a bit different. All right, let's see. Jaden Thorne over on DLive. Tad say Pizza Hut is developing an in-house AI that will recommend food to you. Now they can force pineapple on you. No, Daniel Thorne, because if the AI was actually smart, they would know me and they would know, okay, we're going to cover your entire pizza with pepperoni, and then we're going to look at it again and realize this is still not enough pepperoni, and then we're going to, go on from there. There it is. So anyway, Michael Skewiff, thank you very much for the 5 Great British pounds. Says a super chat. He says, I have totally given up on the entertainment industry. The far left, politically correct, have completely ruined it. It's pathetic. I agree. I totally agree. And I would say the vast majority of stuff that comes out, especially the vast majority of big budget movies that come out, are just not very good. Even the ones that don't have any politics in it are just not very good. You know, there's been a few films that have come out without any real politics that they're still not good. You know? And that's kind of been like my one-man crusade, or at least it feels like a one-man crusade, where a lot of people have been saying, yeah, but it's not woke. It's not woke. So I like it because it's not woke. And it's like, okay, we need to raise our standards a little bit. So, you know, I think that that's an important thing for us to be able to do. Gary Banjo Sandwich says, I made a video. It had Friday Night Tights in it, and they doxed it at YouTube. No views, but it had views. Wait, what do you mean they doxed it? You mean that they got rid of it? Like they nuked it? I don't know what you would mean by doxing. YouTube is not typically in the business of doxing people. The last time I checked. They do a lot of terrible things, but doxing at least isn't one of them. Harvick says James Gunn has implied that Weasel may have been innocent and railroaded due to his lack of intelligence. And Hardwick, dude, if you've watched my review, you know I can't stand this movie. So little bits of information like that just don't mean anything to me, man. And I hate to keep doing that to you, but it's just the truth. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, Weasel was a complete waste of time. It was a waste of crappy CGI, and it was a waste of money. And it's going to be one of the many, many reasons the film is losing as much money as it is, because they could have saved probably, I don't know how much it cost, but let's say they could have even saved $1 million or $2 million on those effects for Weasel, or at the very least put it somewhere else. It would have been money better spent. Soul Assassin says, a spoon of honey and lemon will help. Again, I do love honey. I don't do spoons, though. I have that method because I did theater for a very long time of just, you know, leaning back and then just letting it pour. Just letting it pour. JKD Buck is recommending the neti pot. Those have always disturbed me. My wife has one of those, and every time that she has to use it, I'm disturbed, and I don't like it. I do not like it one bit. I don't trust it. I don't trust the way the water goes in and how it comes out. It's quite disturbing. Cornelius says, if I was a theater owner, I would only screen previously released films that I know are actually good. Yeah, I think that would be probably a policy I would take too. And I think that it could potentially also be, a successful business model too. It's not guaranteed, but it could. Let's see. Orange Hat Reviews says, you sound like Gary Busey. Gave you bad drinking advice. Hope it heals soon. Thank you. Appreciate it. Rosie G12 says, warm tea with honey and, of course, chicken soup. Love me some chicken noodle soup. I'm weird, though. For some reason, I only like the Campbell's chicken noodle soup. And then, even then, I don't eat the chicken because it's weird. It's pink. It looks undercooked. And I just don't trust it. There's a lot of things I don't trust. That's one of them. Now you're all learning about all the things that I just don't trust in life. Hey, thank you very much, JM Cruz, for that. Appreciate it. Andrew Hoyle, who's a member, heat up a little honey with a touch of lemon juice. Yeah, we keep saying lemon juice. I think I might just stick with the honey. Honey sounds good. Daniel Thorne, Bond needs to make $900 million worldwide to break even, so it's screwed. Oh, yeah. Daniel Thorne, I would be truly amazed if that film got even close to that number. If even a Marvel film like Black Widow can only get to around $350 million worldwide, in what world could a James Bond movie get to that level? I don't have the list in front of me of what the James Bond films have made over the years, but I don't think they've all made $1 billion every time, so... Let's see. CC Thorne, thank you for tagging me. By the way, I got about 10 minutes left. So, again, I'm going to try and go for another 10 minutes. I still have a couple super chats to get to. Again, I'm waiting for them to come up in the chat, and then I will be able to highlight them and read them. So, again, thank you all for your patience if you have super chatted. But, again, if y'all could just keep comments slow, so that way I don't fall too far behind and don't use my voice too much, that would be very appreciated. CC Thorne, thank you very much. Yeah, dude, thanks for joining. Yeah, I know that you're somewhat new. Thank you for joining. Says he joined a month ago. Thank you so very much for joining, and I'm glad that you are enjoying the community. Mr. Jazz Fusion, what's going on? Glad to see you in the chat. Robert Frey, what's going on? Awesome One says, I sentence Odin to a pizza home. Dang. To a pizza home. That would be delightful. Have you seen Once Upon a Time in America? I have not, Brian Barth, but I know that Tina has. Ed Snark, thank you. I very much appreciate that. Here is the other super chat from Michael Skewiff. 5 great British Browns. He says, I also have a cold. I cannot smell or taste a thing except some soups. Hope you get better. Well, thank you. Yeah, luckily I don't have that problem. Again, it's just really the voice at this point. Just really the voice. See, Rosie G12 tagged to say, I didn't watch Suicide Squad and won't, but my adult niece said it was hot garbage and she's usually spot on like you. Well, hey, yeah, sounds like she has good taste and that she has eyes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're really not missing anything. You're really not missing anything. Because, and this is a point I think I brought up before, but it's like, is anyone going to honestly say, even the people who like the movie, who have seen it a lot, can you honestly say that this is a movie that you're going to come back to in 2, 5, 10 years? Because if you think honestly that you will, okay, again, everyone has their own cup of tea. But it's just really hard for me to think of a lot of people coming back to this movie years down the road. I just don't think it has anything unique or iconic about it. Like, all the jokes in the movie are jokes that have been done before in some form or fashion. So I feel like there's really just nothing unique that's going to bring anyone back to it, you know? Rhaegar Targaryen, what's going on? Glad to have you here. Rhaegar Targaryen says he has mixed feelings. Yeah, I understand. Here in the Steadfast, thank you for the 10 Canadian dollar super chat. Says, Mahler said he had fun with the Suicide Squad. He also had fun with the Van Helsing and Batman and Robin. Something in his voice makes me suspect he has some interesting things to say. Okay, Huron, thank you for being a fan of Mahler to have that kind of context. I think that adds so much. So for him to say he had fun with the movie, and that is similar to the language he's used for movies like Batman and Robin and Van Helsing, which anyone will agree are objectively bad movies, I think that's an important distinction to make. Because again, you can have fun with this movie. You can have fun with any movie. There are tons of bad movies out there that you can have fun with. I have fun with bad movies all the time. But we have to be, again, cautious when it comes to saying, oh, it's a really good movie, or oh, it's a great film, it's a solid movie, when, again, those are more objective elements, and it's just not the case. But thank you for that context here in the Steadfast. I appreciate that. I think that makes a lot more sense. Awesome One says, voice is raspy. He'll make it through the final round of The Voice. Oh, man. All right. If y'all could, if you're in the chat right now, if y'all could start again to slow down comments, I'd appreciate it, as we are going to start to wrap things up because I do need to end things early. So let's see. Hardwick says John Cena's apology to China wasn't his first embarrassing moment speaking Mandarin. Spoke Mandarin during a part of a scene with Amy Schumer in Trainwreck. Trainwreck was a complete train wreck, and I hate the fact that you've reminded me that movie exists. How dare you, Hardwick? How dare you mention that film? It was such trash. All right, let's see. Favorite sci-fi. I saw that pitch meetings made the point about the plot copying the 2016 movie. Good to see I wasn't the only one who thought that. All that was missing was the sky beam. Yeah, seriously. Oh, man. Yeah, dude, pitch meetings always on point in so many ways. So I'm happy to hear that. I cannot wait then to see that. I cannot wait to see that pitch meeting. See, Orange at Reviews says the only Arrival that was good in my opinion was the one with Charlie Sheen. I have not seen that. Andrew Hoyle, who's a member. Haven't watched Suicide Squad. Can't stand Will Smith and thought Leto's Joker looked awful. Dude, it was awful. It was so bad. It was so cringe. It was just one of those movies that had very little as far as redeeming qualities. Really, the only thing that I found the most entertaining about that movie was the fact that Jai Courtney was actually not bad. When Jai Courtney is able actually to give a fun performance, of which he rarely gives in movies, that's a win. So, you know, if there's one thing that the Suicide Squad, if there's one thing that James Gunn's The Suicide Squad could have done to make it more entertaining, it would have been, and I guess this is a spoiler, but I don't care at this point, it would have been not killing off Captain Boomerang within the first 10 minutes of the movie. That moment I was like, really? Of all the things, so stupid. Awesome one. I don't know Trig. I couldn't teach it to you, even if I tried. It just is not my cup of tea, because it's just not my subject. Alrighty. So we're trying to wrap things up. So I'm trying to get through as many comments as I can before heading out. So again, I'm heading out early just for the sake of my voice. Toxfox saltwater is good to kill bacteria and dislocate tonsil stones. Okay, Toxfox, thank you for that information. Hardwick, I asked kindly, man. Please. It says, Jungle Cruise gave me the urge to revisit the Mummy movies. The Mummy has aged like a fine wine, but The Mummy Returns has aged like an egg in sunlight. Mummy and Mummy Returns, I think, are both fun. The first one's the best. The second one's still fun. It's the third one that is just garbage. Awesome one says use a garden hose. Oh, I don't know if that'd be better. Jakety Buck, I'm eating local honey and honeycomb from rural Indiana right now. Nice. Very cool. The Legend of Neons. Congrats, bro. So which is doing worse, film industry, your voice, or certain political careers? The film industry. I don't think there's a denial at this point that it's the film industry. Thunderduck, what do you think of Venom 2? So are you Odin the Pooh? I don't know what the second one's supposed to mean. I wasn't a huge fan of the first Venom. I still can't quite buy the fact that Tom Hardy is supposed to be a news reporter. He's too jacked to be a news reporter. Like, it just doesn't work. And then the voice he puts on too for the movie just is so weird. I think it looks better than the first movie, but it's not going to make money. I just can't see it making money. Let's see. Rob D, the same as you, Odin. I only like Campbell's chicken noodle soup and only the noodles and broth. Doom. Yeah, exactly. If they somehow made a chicken-free Campbell's chicken noodle soup, I would get that in like the gallons. I could have that stuff all day, every day. Unfortunately, I don't think I have any in the house. Awesome one says, I rarely rewatch a movie. Dude, that's one of the most fun things. There's so many, there's certain movies out there that are so good and so deep that every time you watch it, you see something new. And it makes it like a new experience all over again. So for me, rewatchability is a very important factor in movies. J.M. Cruz says, having fun and saying that it was a good movie aren't the same. Very true, J.M. Cruz. And that's why I appreciate hearing the Steadfast setting the record straight. Setting the record straight on that. Physics channel with Kenny Lee. What's going on? Stephanie B then says, drink some chamomile tea, Chief. I don't drink tea. I don't like hot beverages. I don't like the hot beverages. Not my thing. I actually, it's funny the thing. I actually wish I did like tea. Like, to me, it sounds so lovely to just be like, I'm going to have a nice cup of tea, some tea and biscuits. That'd be great. That'd be so great. But I just don't like it. I just never have liked the taste. And typically also, you have to have it hot normally. And I'm not a fan. Andrew, well, I remember my sister telling me that Van Helsing was the greatest movie ever, but think that it may have been more to do with Hugh Jackman being in it. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just like my Valkyrie. They love the movie 300. It's not because the movie's good. It's because they have some very, very attractive shirtless men who are ripped. And now my Valkyrie can come after me. Thirsty Warrior says, congrats on 23K. Get well and don't forget about us now that you're a big shot. Nah, dude. I'm not a big shot. I am just a simple teacher doing this for fun and still having a blast. Toxfox says, not the whole class, just yourself lecturing, not the students. Yeah, even then, it would still be a problem because it would still be filmed in the school. Again, that's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. Let's see. Hardwick says, somehow I suspect I won't be getting an impromptu performance of Immigrant Song from you. Nope. Definitely not. Cacao tag to say, burned out a cold overnight with lemon tea, honey, and 2 fingers of whiskey. Interesting. Again, I don't do the alcohol myself, but well, anyway, thank y'all very much for being here tonight. Gonna just get these last minute comments. I'll hold off on the ice cream tonight so you don't have to sing. Dean Heist, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I would still try because it is a part of the thing. But anyway, Thursday Warrior says here, for Jag News reporters, I gave you Chris Cuomo. Time for him to resign. Too, by the way. Oh, yeah. No doubt. And isn't he like on vacation now, too? Just in time for this to not cover it? Have you ever had Heinz? No, Michael Skew. Oh, wait, yeah. I've had Heinz ketchup. He clarified to say the soup. No, I've actually not had their soups before. Nathan Slay, sorry I'm late. About your voice, and my prayers to you and your voice. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Again, I am trying to wrap things up, though, so please don't tag me. Stop tagging me. I feel like some of you just never listen, ever. You know who you are at this point. There's some of you that just never listen. Thursday Warrior hot drinks with pineapple are the best. Screw you, Thirsty. Screw you. JM Cruz. JM Cruz, come on, man. Oh, man. I'll just put that up on the screen. I can't read it. I'm trying to save my voice. I'm trying to end the stream, guys. Dude, Forever Sci-Fi, thank you very much. I appreciate the love. Thank you. It's Tina. It's the best movie ever. Yeah, it is indeed 8 p.m. All right, so that's going to be it for me. Darn you, General Wingster. How dare you? Thank you for watching tonight. If you're still watching over on Odyssey, please let out that fire button. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you smash that like button. Huge shout out to my mods for being amazing. Michael Skew, if I saw the comment. Yeah, basically, the way I have it is the comments stay up whether you retract them or not, so it's better just to not retract it and get it right the first time. But anyway, I do want to shout out my Valks team and Steph for having my back all these times, all these years, and all the way up until 23,000 subscribers. I want to thank everyone also for being here tonight, and thank you again for understanding, cutting things a bit short. I really do appreciate everything that y'all do, everything that y'all say in the comments as well. I do read pretty much all the comments that I can, and it's always great to see all the love and support. Love to see the constructive criticism. I always love to see also your own thoughts and your own opinions as well. And I appreciate y'all for being in the chat and for always having these really fun discussions with me, even when I sound like I don't even know what. So thank you to everyone who donated tonight. Thank you to everyone who was in the chat. Smash the like button, and I appreciate the well wishes, everybody. I will do the very best that I can to heal up as fast as possible. However, I'm lecturing still until all the way through Friday, so we'll see how the voice is on Friday during Friday Night Tights. And also, I have no idea what's going to happen with Friday Night Tights this week as far as the look of it and the feel of it, because of, I think, me being one of the only ones that's going to not be in the city. But anyway, you guys are all amazing, beautiful people. Thank you for being here. I still need to add a couple people to my shout-out video at the end, so I did want to make sure they got shouted out, though. So shout-out to Hannibal Grimm and also Christopher Bowman. Thank you both very much for being members on Patreon. I'm going to try and update the video. I wanted to wait, though, until the voice is able to catch up before I do that. But anyway, this has been an awesome journey, everybody. Again, 23,000. Can't wait to get to 24,000. And it'd be really cool to get to 25,000 by the end of the year. That'd be really cool. Again, I don't really set goals for myself because I do this for fun. But it would be kind of fun to be able to get to 25K by the end of the year. As Blake Hopper. How's it going? You have to be a member for 5 minutes before you can comment. And with that, you all have a wonderful and amazing day. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.
And now for a huge shout out to all of my August Locals, Patreon, and Subscribe Star members. Starting off with my Locals crew, Cat's App, The Real It, D Sharp, Biffer the Hobbit, Robert Barnes, and Goblin Squatch. Thank you all very much for supporting me over on Locals. And now on to my Patreon members, Andrew Hoyle, Brian P., Christopher Bowman, Dion, Don Bruno de la Mancha, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father. Father Damian Cook, Garrett Searles, Harold Francis, Inflamed Wood, Jacob Juice, Jeffrey Toone, Jonathan Carney, Lance, Laura, the Modern Major General's Story, Mike Jackson, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mondo Spieler, Mr. Peabody, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Priscilla Hall, Rosetta Allen, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, and Tina B, the Empress of the Universe. Thank you very much for supporting me over on Patreon. And lastly, to my Subscribe Star peeps, Fast Reaction, Nosferatu Gatsu, John B, Perpetual Punster, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., Dean Heiss / the new number 2, J-Rod the Beer Guru, and ZK Man. Thank you all very much for supporting me on Subscribe Star, and to everyone for supporting me on these platforms. Also, a shout out to all of my YouTube members. You get shouted out at the end of every single live stream. And if you want to have your name shouted out at the end of every live stream and every video, please check out my locals Patreon Subscribe Star. And you can go ahead and find those links in the top link of this description. You can find it's called the Willow link, and it'll have a list to literally all of the social media platforms and all the different ways that you can support the channel. If you join at the $1 level, you can actually get your name shouted out at the end of every single video and live stream. $5 level gives you that, plus you get access to exclusive giveaways of 4K titles. Right now, I've got tons of 4K steelbooks to give away this month, including for Top Gun. I also have A Quiet Place Part 2. I have Snatch on 4K, the John Wick trilogy on 4K, and also I have a Sicario 4K disc as well, and a bunch of others that are going to be coming in this month too. So if you want to have access to any of those types of exclusive giveaways, join at the Army of Asgard level. At the $10 level, the Keeper of the Bifrost level, you get all of that, plus you get access to exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, including instant reactions when I go to see movies. I do quick little filmings of myself and talk about the films that I have seen and my instant reactions to that. You also get access to an exclusive podcast that I do with John the Flick Pick Flickinger once or twice a month, and you get to also ask us any question that you want. We put a Q&A post up, and you get to ask us whatever it is that you want to ask. So again, if that sounds cool to you, Keeper of the Bifrost level. And lastly, there is the Chosen of Valhalla level, where you get all of that stuff, plus in your first month as a Chosen of Valhalla member, you get a free t-shirt, your choice, ship it anywhere in the world, and also you get to once a month be featured on the OMB Reviews channel, and you get to talk with me. We usually chill out for 3 to 4 hours, and I ask everyone what they've been watching, what they want to talk about, what they want to promote, and it's always a really good time. And so if that sounds interesting to you, please consider joining. That is going to be on Subscribe Star and on Patreon only, as Locals is just the Keeper of the Bifrost level. But anyway, thank you all very much for your time, for your support, and for listening to this shout-out video. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless.